'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 yada 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 yada. Every person in here has a different idea, thought, philosophy, belief, and expectation from this thing we call the holiday season or Christmas. So many of us. Did you ever notice that some of our favorite Christmas songs are written by Jewish folks? That's odd. I am dreaming of a white Christmas just like the ones I used to know. Treetops glisten and children listen. I think so much of what probably most of us feel about this holiday, this Christmas time, is based on emotion. We hear those old songs and we think back, oh, the old days, the old Christmases. Were they that much different? You stop and really go through Christmases. We've all had not such great Christmases in our lives, but the ones that hang with us are probably go back to the time when we didn't have to wrap stuff all night. We didn't have to battle the crowds. We didn't have to work overtime just to be able to have a few extra bucks for Christmas. It's when we were kids. And there's something about Christmas that children experience. And I'm going to call it wonderment. And oddly enough, my old buddy Einstein, his one word of description of God is wonderment. That living through, experiencing the unknown, the wonder, the excitement. How many of us experience that through the holidays now? We celebrate Christmas as the birthday of Jesus. And I spoke last week about how humanity has evolved, how our thinking has evolved, how our ability to consider reality has evolved. Well, we think about Jesus, and that happened 2,000 years ago. And the story of Jesus, as is depicted in the Bible, the edited Bible, because they left a lot of things out that were in there once. And I've always been curious, what did they leave out? I've always been going to study that. But the edited version that we have all come to know, it tells this story about this man. And I think some of the things are kind of like the Paul Bunyan and the Blue Ox. They get a little bit, kind of like what I do to my stories. You know, they just get stretched a little bit here and there, just because it makes a really better story. But all that we know about this guy, Jesus, is that he was born into a Jewish community. And I think, my opinion, I think he was probably one of the first famous transcendentalists. He transcended the status quo. He got to the point, if my memory serves me correctly, the first 5 books of the Bible were called the Torah by the Jewish church, synagogue, And those were supposedly written by Moses, somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 years before Jesus was born. So here's this guy, Jesus, transcending the status quo, trying to think beyond the, I don't know how to say this, ideology, everybody says it different, ideas that were 2,500 years old. Was he trying to do anything different than what we're trying to do now? Take a look, think about things. What's the reality of it? Does this really make sense? He was doing the same thing. And in all religions, governments, a power structure develops. And that power structure becomes very, it gets diluted and polluted and corrupted. And that's the importance of thinking and transcending. And Jesus transcended the status quo. He said there's a different way of thinking about things than what we've been taught for the last 2,000 years. And that same thing is true today. There's a different way to think about things than they did 2,000 years ago. Through the ages, we have wonderful holidays. And Christmas should mean to each one of you exactly what you want it to mean. And have you stopped and asked yourself, what does Christmas truly mean? Why do we celebrate it? And maybe it is for the getting together of families, the celebration, singing the Christmas carols, exchanging gifts. And if that is meaningful to you, that is perfect. But upon examination of what Christmas means, you may find it means something different. Maybe your idea of Christmas has evolved a bit. What is important to you about the holidays, about Christmas? And whatever you find that is, how can you build upon that based on this thing called harmony and kindness and love? I was deeply saddened the other day. I heard two of my grandchildren talking about Christmas. Well, I need to know how much, what I'm getting and how much money I'm going to get. And I felt like Christmas has become an entitlement to so many people. These are my grandchildren. I'm the guy that's supposed to be the great example. I guess I fell a little short. And I talked with them a little bit. I said, I can go buy you a bunch of stuff, and in less than 6 months, it's all going to end up in the garbage. And how does that treat our planet, making more garbage, just so you can be tickled for a few minutes with a new toy or a new thing? Perhaps all of us need to do a little checkup on what Christmas means, what celebration means, what holiday means. Each one of us has an opportunity to grow. to expand our awareness, to expand our territory. Each one of us can transcend some of the old dogmatic beliefs about the holidays, all of them. And we can take a step beyond. We can evolve. Maybe we can create some new traditions that are more in line with what we and our community need at this time of the year. Bruce was talking a little while ago, we were talking about this last song, If I Had a Hammer. And he was talking about, he'd watched a special about the tell me quick, Peter, Paul, and Mary. You think about Peter, Paul, and Mary, and Bob Dylan, Joan Baez. They were in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, the transcendentalists of our time. To think about the status quo, to think about our customs and our habits and our way of life. And we can do better. Each one of us has the capacity to do better. But we'll never realize that if we don't stop and think about it. Step out of the comfort zone. Step out of the warm and fuzzy of the holidays. Because are they really that warm and fuzzy? Or is it just a little bubble we create for ourselves? I don't know. That's up to each one of us. But each of us can transcend so much of the conditioning that every single one of us has been hammered into accepting. And think about this time of the year. And what message are we sending? What energy are we sharing with the universe? What love, what kindness, what frustration, what depression, what joy, what sadness. I think we owe it to ourselves, my dear friends, to take a look at ourselves. We have within us the ability to create such joy and to share vast amounts of kindness and love. But we won't do that unless we amend our activities, evolve the way we think about so many things. Think about the words that we share with each other. Each one of us, this song, If I Had a Hammer, every one of us has a hammer and a bell and a song. And we can use that this holiday season. Maybe we can create some new traditions and share with our children maybe a little different look on the holidays. And who knows, 2,000 years from now, they may trying to tell us how ignorant and backwards we were. I don't know.